Well, the reason that only one drug has been made available, AZT, because it's the only drug that thus far has been shown in scientifically controlled trials to be safe and effective. It isn't a question of there are a lot of drugs around and only one is being released. That's the only one that has been shown to be effective. Well, first of all, it's certainly understandable when you're dealing with a frustrating and very difficult situation such as AIDS, particularly if you're someone who has the disease or is afraid of getting the disease, that things are moving too slow. In fact, we always want things to go more quickly. If you look at the clinical trials as they're going on now, there are a number of drugs that are in clinical trial. Hopefully, they will be expeditiously shown to either be safe and effective or will be discarded because they're proven not to be safe and effective. But things are moving along. It's understandable how there's always the perception that things are going slow, and I think that just reflects the very difficult nature of the disease and the emotional charged nature of it. Oh, absolutely you can. You can always make things quicker, and that's what we're trying to do, is constantly reevaluating, getting outside consultants, reevaluating our own approach and the approaches that can possibly be changed. We never are complacent to say, yes, this is the best it can be. You can always do things better, and that's what we're trying to do. Well, there are a number of drugs that are in trial now. It's difficult to say that one is more promising than the other, and that's the reason for the trial, to determine if they're promising. Alpha interferon is one. Dideoxycytidine is another. Foscarnet, AL721, all of these are in trial, either alone or in combination with AZT. There are several of them now. Well, it's a double-edged sword. First of all, the virus can and is being spread heterosexually. That's on the one hand. On the other hand, it certainly is not spreading in that explosive way that we saw it was spreading through the homosexual population a few years ago. So on the one hand, you don't want to be complacent because of that, because you know that if you let your guard down and feel that you do not need to be careful, you don't have to worry about sexual practices or safe sex or what have you, then what you might see is an increase in cases in the general population. I might point out that the predominant spread into the heterosexual population in this country, in the United States, is predominantly around the IV drug abusing population and their heterosexual partners. So if you look, for example, in Manhattan, in South Bronx, in New Jersey, or in Miami, where there's a high concentration of IV drug abusers, the heterosexual spread is focused in those areas with high IV drug abusing populations. Yes. Yeah. Sure. Well, I think if you ask virtually any scientist who's involved in this area, his claims are really extraordinary. They're way off base. He puts forth a negative hypothesis. He says everything you've heard is wrong, but I'm not going to give you any alternative. It's really unfortunate, because what he's doing, he's creating a tremendous amount of anxiety in the people who are infected because they think that there's some conspiracy among scientists against them. It really is very unfortunate. And coming from him, he has some qualifications. Something happened to him in his thinking over the past couple of years. I don't know what it is. You're welcome. Okay. Okay.